Okay, so since today is St. Patrick's Day, I thought it would be fun to share my favorite Green albums with you all. First off, we're coming in hot with Positions by Arianagrande, one of my favorite albums by her. I really love the intro track, Shut Up. It's a really good way to start off the album. I love the strings. Positions, the song, my favorite lead single that she's done, the harmonies, the vocals, all of it. POV, obvious, 34, 35. There's a lot to like about this album, so I wanted to start off the video with this. It's a little bit underrated, I fear. Next up, we got Control, the deluxe version by SZA. A classic, and it's really stood the test of time so well. Some of my favorites on here, Supermodel is incredible. Prom is my favorite song on this album. I feel like it's underrated. I'm glad it's getting a little bit more praise recently. And then I also really love Broken Clocks, has to be one of her best. Go Gina is definitely a favorite for me. You also have Garden on here as well. 20-something is a great closer. For the deluxe tracks, I really enjoyed Percolator, Tread Carefully. Also love Jody as well, but SZA, great singer, amazing songwriter. She deserves a little bit more credit. I know she's very popular, but some people sleep on her pen a little bit too much for me, but quintessential to R&B. Next up, we got Lemonade by Beyonce. Some people like to do a little bit too much on this album, but it is one of her best albums. She did what had to be done. The cultural impact is there. Pray You Catch Me is a devastating opener to listen to. She's saying, I can see the dishonesty, it's all over your breath. And then you also have something like Sorry, which is a great song. She's saying suicide before you see this tear roll down my eyes, something like that. Love the bridge on there, one of my favorite songs on the album. It's a fun listen for the most part. You also have Hold Up on there, Daddy Lessons, which is a great country moment for her. Excited for the new album as well. You have some other great ones like Love Drought, for example. Sandcastle is one of my favorite Beyonce songs. I'll do too much on it. And then you also have a great closer in All Night. And yeah, this album is just incredible. I love the visuals. I love songwriting. I love her vocal performances and what she was able to do this album. We have to talk about it. And just what a moment this was for the culture, I will say. And the Grammys performance was great too. Next up, we got Glee, the complete season 4. This is a compilation album moment, but I'm still going to count it. You know, there's two people in the world, those who get Glee and those who don't. And I'm one of the people that gets it. I love the show. I don't care. A lot of times they're eating up the original. And their version of Love Song by Stella Bareilles alone deserves to be on this list. So that's why I had to include it. You know, Blow Me One Last Kiss. They gave Pink a run for her money, ate her up so bad. But Glee's a great show. Rewatching it right now. I love it. I would recommend it if you haven't seen it. Next up, The Beatles, Rubber Soul. This is when I really started getting more experimental in my opinion. I love it. It's a top 3 Beatles album for me. Some of my favorites on here, Drive My Car, absolute classic. I love it even though a lot of people don't care for it. Michelle is one of my favorite Beatles songs of all time. I love the guitar on there. I love Paul McCartney's voice on there. Paul McCartney, my favorite Beatle, and I love Paul McCartney, as you guys know. And then, you know, you also have some great ones like In My Life, If I Needed Someone. And yeah, there's a lot to like about this album, so I had to mention it, of course. Next up, Queen, News of the World. This is a cute album. You know, I have some ones I put above it, but for what it is, I enjoy it. I mean, album has We Will Rock You and We Are the Champions on it. Enough said, so had to mention it. Next up, we have Aaliyah. 1 in a Million. I mean, what this album did, iconic. I mean, the title track alone, R&B perfection, as I've said before, amazing. Then Everything's Gonna Be Alright is actually my favorite song on this album. I think it's so much fun to listen to. 4-Page Letter is on this album as well. I Got Your Back is a great song on this album. Heartbroken is on this album. So yeah, if you love R&B music or you're looking to get into R&B music, you can't go wrong with this album. And especially you can't go wrong with the self-titled but start with this album. I really do enjoy it. What a moment it was, and what I would give to listen to this for the first time again. So I will definitely say that. And also, quick side note, the one I Give My Heart To, they should have put the single version of the album. Go listen to that on YouTube. It's way better, but I love this album still. Next up, we got some fionaapple. fionaapple is one of my favorite artists of all time. And this is really underrated her discography. A lot of people hate on it because the Dry and Brian version. I haven't heard that version out of respect to her. But I really like the song for what it is. The title track, something that's very relatable to me. And I also really enjoy Get Him Back. That's probably my favorite fionaapple song of all time. You have stuff like Parting Gifts, which I really appreciate on here as well. Please, Please, Please. Not About Love. Also love Better Version of Me. Tim's The Sick in the Head song. Yeah, this is one of my favorite albums by her. People do a little bit too much on it. I think it's great. Next up, we have the Grease soundtrack. I'm sorry, they had Hit, after hit after hit. Hopelessly Devoted to You by Olivianewtonjohn is ending a lot of people's careers. I don't care. You're the one that I want. And I could go on and on and on. Great movie, great soundtrack. One of my favorite soundtracks of all time. They did what had to be done, period. Two more quick Paul McCartney ones. So this is his Unplugged album from the 90s, and I really enjoy it. I like what he did with the classics on it, and you know, he had some other great arrangements and moments on here. But yeah, Paul McCartney and the guitar, there's not much more else you need. Great singer, great songwriter. I love this. Then last up, we got Flaming Pie. Paul McCartney, 1997, and a lot to like on this album yet again, so of course I had to mention it. It's praised as one of his better albums. I have a few I'd put above it, but I still really like this album. So that is going to be my favorite Green albums. So let me know what you guys think about this down below in the comments. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Is there anything that you felt was left out that should have been here? What are your favorites? Let's continue the conversation, but happy St. Patrick's Day.